Hi class, here we are, Module 3 for Accounting 221. This week we're covering Chapter 6 and 7, Internal Control Systems and Cash, as well as Chapter 7, Accounting for Receivables. Before we get into the new stuff, just wanted to kind of quickly mention what I've seen in the first couple modules. Right now it's really just been getting assignments in and getting them in on time. Particularly, few of you have yet to get into Connect. So make sure that you get into Connect as soon as possible. Those assignments are set up to automatically deduct percentage points every day that it's late. So once you pass that due date, it will deduct, I believe, about 7 percentage points per day, to where once you hit 2 weeks, it'll be basically half credit. So you want to get those in on time as much as possible. Other than that, most of your video summaries have been substantial. I do thank you for that. That is usually one of the biggest catches for students, is getting substantial summaries as well as discussion posts. And for this class, your discussion posts have been good. Some of the replies could use some help, so when I do grading, I do try to kind of be pretty lenient on the point deduction the first couple of assignments and give you better feedback. If you get a 25 out of 25, I don't do a lot of feedback because, obviously you've got full credit. If it's a 0 because you don't turn it in, I obviously don't write much for the comments. But if I deduct a point or 2 or 3 or 5 or 7 points, I try to make sure I give you a comment of why. And the idea early on, I'm going to be a lot more detailed in comments and not take away as many points, is to get you to kind of coach you to be better in your discussions and in your video summaries. So please read those comments on your grades, and then it'll kind of give you a hint of how to improve for the next assignment. So looking forward again to this week, looking at the internal control systems and cash. Internal control systems, essentially we're looking at those policies and procedures that management's going to use in order to protect their assets, urge the proper use or enforcement of policy or adherence to policy, better ensure reliable accounting, and promote efficient accounting. So again, these are internal measures to basically protect money. If you walk into the convenience store and you see the sign and it says, the clerk doesn't have access to the safe, again, that's just another policy or procedure put in place to help protect those assets, particularly in Chapter 6, we're talking about cash accounting. So we also have the 7 principles of internal controls, which you can see those in Chapter 6. And then we get into the Sarbanes-Oxley Acts, or the SOX Act, which was enacted after some of the accounting frauds with Arthur Andersen, MCI WorldCom, Enron, and some other companies, Tyco, back in the early 2000s. And so the Congress passed the Sarbanes-Oxley Act in order to kind of monitor or better monitor these things. So Chapter 7 then moves into accounting for receivables. So kind of the main question we start off with in that chapter is, what are receivables? So basically, receivables are sales on credit. And by credit, we mean you get the product today, but the cash actually doesn't always come through until next week or 30 days or something like that. Usually on credit, a business to a consumer is going to do is going to do credit, and the company, as us being the seller, we get that money right away from the credit card company, so a Visa or Capital One. And then the consumer has so many days to pay the creditor. When you're business to business and you're buying product, so as a company we're buying something on credit, usually we are billed maybe 7 or 15 or 30 or 45 days later. So the accounting for receivables are to account for that time between when we get the product and then when we actually pay. And then as we move forward in the next couple weeks, we'll start talking about the payables, which is the money that we owe for such things. So keep at it. Things have been pretty good. I really like the textbook and the illustrated examples that they have in those kind of blue colored pages. They're a nice illustration that are very similar to the assignments in Connect, so be sure to refer to those if you're struggling. And as always, you can contact me via email or text or phone. I've talked to a few of you already, and I always enjoy talking to students and helping you out. So if you have any problems or questions, just give me a call, and let's get moving in a great Module 3 and a great week. Thanks, guys.